Hey guys, I just want to check and make sure that we are in fact live. If one of you can text or call me, that would allow me to check it out. I got to grab my Bluetooth over here before I forget. Oh, let's see here. Yeah, it looks like we're going and doing okay. All right. So we're going to pick up from where we left off last time. I'm going to repeat some of the stuff and talk about some of the feedback that I got. And again, if you are here with us, can you message me to let me know that you are in fact here, that you are in fact receiving the feed and the stream? Everything should be working fine according to what I'm seeing, but I just want to check and make sure on y'all's end. Oh, let's see. Cool. Looks like everything is working the way it should.
Ready to go?
Yeah, you can come over later.
Okay.
I'm not like a super mad rush. We're just 5 minutes, 5 minutes past. Oh, you're fine. So I got good feedback about the class overall. I think that the camera angles I can improve a little bit, but I'll have to keep kind of working on that. In the future, at some point, I suspect I will have a camera person. And that camera person will actively be moving around, showing stuff with a little bit more fluidity than I can get just from a stable, tripod. So expect everything that we're doing to only, I think, get better in quality. Video production quality, video editing quality after the fact. You guys have access to this, and one of the things I wanted to point out was I had a conversation with one of our students, and she was saying that she felt kind of uncomfortable putting her knee up in that cervico-thoracic junction. And I think part of what goes on with that is the fact that you are dealing with a tool that you're not used to using, and it's a little more delicate area. I'm gonna basically take you at times to kind of push you into stuff that's a little bit uncomfortable, just a little. And again, if you want to call me, that's 512-905-2298. Again, if you want to call or text, it's 512-905-2298. I'm going to push you into stuff that's uncomfortable, and then I'm going to bring you back down and repeat some stuff. I don't want you to feel like you have to learn everything about upper back and neck work in this one little 6-hour mat course. We're going to do so many pieces of this again and again and again. This is not the only time you're going to study with me live online like this. If I have my way, I will do these every month. That means that every month you're working with me for 6 hours interactively online with me guiding you through basic sort of sequences. Go ahead and lay down on your side, Kristen. Just put up the side that you feels like the tightest. Did you have clients today?
Nope.
Was it a good work day?
No, I didn't.
No?
Really, I was just dealing with home loan stuff.
Oh, home loan. Oh, it's
Yeah,
great.
it kind of took over
It's great.
today.
So you went to a bank, you held a gun, you're like, give me
No.
1% interest. Yeah, home loan stuff with banks has got to be frustrating.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna prop Kristen here. She's gonna need a little bit of support. I don't want her to be without the blanket. She's kind of doing it for me. And then Kristen, can you line yourself up like a little bit more like this?
Which way?
Like that. So like that's the head. This is that's good.
Like this?
Yeah, that'll probably do it. There we go. Then I'm gonna tuck this guy in. How's that?
Good.
More support there?
Yeah.
There we go. So I'm gonna go right back into what I had talked about previously, what we had done before. And I'm just gonna work with her slowly just to open this up. Oh, because we, don't want to go in like completely cold into something that I think is maybe more advanced. So I'm gonna lift her arm here and reach under.
First, I could do a home loans all day.
Home loans? Oh, it's everything.
I might be a little more.
It's
tense.
it's everything you wanted in life.
Ah.
Right in here. How's that? Okay. So this is such a basic, like, primary move that I do, and I know it looks very simple. It looks like maybe it's not even all that like physically impressive. Like when you see it on camera, are people just like, oh my God? Now, but how does it feel?
That's great.
Yeah. And if you really take your time, it's like I'm feeling for movement all the way around the shoulder blade's connection through the thoracic spine, the shoulder blade's connection to musculature in the neck. When you're talking about levator scapula, for instance, as I'm mobilizing through here, trying to see where there's a movement restriction, I'm just pulling on Kristen, trying to open up the chest, open up supraspinatus, trapezius, levator scap, scalenus medius.
I'm gonna open my little thing. There you go.
What am I?
I didn't want to stretch out my neck.
Oh, you don't want to stretch out your neck?
Well, not the collar of my shirt.
Oh, okay.
I want to stretch my neck out.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Oof. Oof.
No.
Oof. So I'm going to change camera angle so you can see this. When I'm pressing on her, just like I did with Carlton last night at the jam, like I'm moving her shoulder blade, but I hooked my thumb into a rotator cuff, and it's like right in there. Oof. Fingers on top, right on top of the shoulder blade. And again, guys, don't be shy. If you have questions, if you can't see something, the whole thing about these live streams is the fact that you can call or text me live, and I can answer your question. I can change camera angles, respond to, what your questions are. How's that?
Good.
So yeah, Kristen had somebody from Germany contact her. I had somebody from South Africa contact me. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't really start thinking, I'm going to teach in South Africa. Somebody in Cape Town. But I can't express how excited I get when people in other countries are like, yeah, I watch your videos. They're really good. And it's like, cool. I hope you work with us live.
Yeah.
So I've softened some of this. This is the rocking to open things up. And then slowly, I'm gonna back out, go to what I think of as kind of standard in a flow. So I'm gonna come out and just lengthen her back and open.
Knowing you were about to do this made me smile. I felt your foot. I was like, yay. Go back. So thank you.
So where do you feel it on your back?
Like my SI joint.
SI joint. Yeah. And I assume that would be the case for her, but what I think happens here is you really got a full body stretch, a full body spine twist. So they can feel it anywhere. She likes it because of a little pressure along the sacrum. So I'm gonna flatten this foot and press into that a bit more. Feels good? There we go. And then as I roll her open, it's lengthening and rolling the spine open. But she's also got this nice little pressure here. So I'm gonna modify this. I'm gonna lean in right here. Let's see here. And then I'm gonna take my foot and shear down. How's that right there? That direction? There we go.
That gives a cool twerk on my psoas.
A cool twerk?
Yeah, it's really tight too, so I'm feeling the stretch through the psoas.
That cool twerking.
Thanks, man.
Then just to give her a little bit of a break, I'm gonna just walk the feet back and forth. Man, I'm glad I put this other camera on the side. This helps. I think they're gonna be able to see a little bit better. I felt biased to one side of the room, and adding just that one kind of helps. Yeah. So I'm just walking along, up and down. I can just kind of hook the toes underneath the shoulder blade when I get up to the top. Is that too much on your shoulder or anything?
Negative.
Negative. Negative. You guys at home, hopefully you are giving to someone who's receiving. We're going to do this for an hour and then we're going to trade out. Generally, I'm going to go with this flow for now. I may adjust this over time. In fact, I'll take liberty even today to do that maybe. And then I think I want to go back up into that problem area, which was that cervicothoracic junction using the knee. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this. I think this is a better way to start because I think that the knee is bigger. And I know it feels like, wow, we're just jumping into this crazy advanced. And it's like, well, in order of sequence, I would use the knee before I would use the elbow because I go general to specific, superficial to deep. That's generally how the flow will go. So I want to use a big broad knee, and I'm gonna kind of play with this with Kristen for a minute because I want to see what I may be able to do here. I'm gonna stack her arm. Let me see what the angle is here. Because I'm stacking her arm up and over. She's got a necklace here, so I'm just going to grab the necklace and just slide it just a little bit higher. I just want to create a little bit of space. She's also got, I think, a sports bra here, so I'm going to roll this guy just a little bit up and over to create a little space right in that cervicothoracic junction. Now, I could put my hand on the shoulder and then come in, but I think it's going to feel more stable. It's probably going to feel more secure if I can do the following. I'm going to have a hand on the shoulder, but I'm also going to put a hand down on the mat. And in my case, I'm going to step the left knee right into that junction. So now I've got these 2 points to be able to toggle between, to be able to take pressure off. Right there. How's the pressure, Kristen? Do you need more than that?
Negative.
Negative. Right in there. Now, for me, I felt like I could reach a little bit further, so I'm going to reach down to the extensors. How's that?
That's good.
Now, in my case, this is we talk about primary, secondary, tertiary. The primary focus is this. The secondary portion is over here at the arm. I'm going to add another piece and get into her forearm right here.
Yes.
So now I've got 3 points of contact, but I'm actually using her body to stack. I'm actually using her body to be able to deliver pressure. I'm trying to see what all these different angles actually allow people to see. Oh. Now, with my knee, Kristen, do you prefer that I go forward or back?
Back.
Okay, how far back?
That's good.
Right there?
Yeah.
Now, do you mean to come like a little more lateral out towards the shoulder or a little more in towards the spine?
Lateral.
A little more lateral right there? There we go. Now, I can sort of palm press that inner arm line between the radius and the ulna right here if I want. I can also, if you've got enough traction, you can even kind of slide through the forearm extensors if that's something you want to do. Rocking? Is the rocking better than static?
I like both.
How are your clients responding to the fact that you're communicating with them more verbally?
They like it. They like the control. I mean, it's not like they have like a controlling thing. It's just like to be able to be like, okay, don't waste your time on that. Like, no, over here, you know? Like they like that we're actually working where they need to work rather than just kind of like me going around blindly and be like, okay, I feel it here.
So I put my weight in both of my hands so I could slowly lift that knee out with control. She's got like a little bit of crease right in here. I think one time we worked together, she didn't like the texture of the pants I was wearing. These have a little bit less of a texture than the others.
Thank you.
And you could also use like a pillowcase or something like that if you need to cover them. You want to be careful about the seams on their shirts. You don't want to like dig that into their skin. For some people that would be uncomfortable. And I want to add a piece. So we talked about using the knee in this area. I want to talk about using the feet. And I'm going to have to play with my camera angles to be able to capture this to allow you guys to see this really well. What I'm going to do is, Kristen's face is facing over away, right? So she's looking out this way and I'm kind of behind her. I'm up above, and what I want to be able to do is, in my case, I'm facing her, and my right foot in this case, I'm going to bring my right foot right in to here. How's that, Kristen? So I put on enough pressure just to be able to make contact. Then I slowly, listen, do you want more pressure to the front or to the back?
Front.
More to the front? You tell me right there?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if I give you more pressure, how's that? Okay. Now, what's happening here, and this is where I want to try to catch this on camera as best I can, is I'm pressing down and just a little bit forward in this case. I'm turning my foot more to the outer edge of the foot to be able to grab in there. And then I want you to be able to watch this foot mechanics here, okay? I'm gonna stack. I've got this right leg almost completely straightened, and I'm gonna lift the other leg on top. And all I'm doing is using this foot to reinforce the other foot. Kristen, how does that feel?
Really good.
Good. So is that sharper than the knee?
Yes.
Is it broader than the knee?
No, it feels
No.
more precise.
More precise. Okay. So it could also depend like how much of the entire arch I was using, but I wanted something that was easy for me, relaxing for me. I'm going to change angles again so they can see this, because I'm just hanging out. Like, I just wanted to be able to hook in and be able to deliver this in a way that allowed me to completely relax. Like, I'm just hanging out, right? Yeah. So when I'm right here, I'm just leaning in, making little small micro movements. Again, do you want that just a little bit more to the front or a little bit more to the back?
Middle.
Back to the middle? What do you think, right there? Now, a little more lateral or down towards the spine?
Down towards the spine.
And that felt a little more specific. I can feel that on the outside edge of my foot. Now I have to try to answer my phone while this is going on. So where do you feel like my leg, my foot is resting right now, Kristen?
Like basically in that like crease of my shoulder.
The cervicothoracic junction.
Yes, that right there.
It's all the flesh between the shoulder blade and the neck. All the flesh between the shoulder blade and the neck. Now, we did this with a knee. We did this with a foot because I wanted to give you like a little additional option. I'm gonna slowly back off. I'm leaning into my hand. And did it feel like my leg was resting on your head?
No.
There was some contact here. Whoever just texted me, there was some contact right here, but it didn't really feel like there was pressure.
No.
The pressure, when I take my foot off, like my skin almost had to like peel off of hers because it was right in here. Like right in this junction is exactly where the pressure was. And when I did that and rolled back and forth, she went, ugh. Because she still wants some pressure right there, right?
Yeah, I feel like my collar might be making me a little raw. Do you see that right there?
It's because is it because of the friction?
I don't know. I want to remove
Okay.
my necklace. I can't see. Remove it. I don't know. There's something there. I wasn't sure if it was like the collar was rough.
Yeah.
It's like my collar's rougher than, or if it's this seam right here.
That might be. So I can also change it this time. So when I'm going to come in with my forearm and elbow, I feel like I have a little more fine motor control when I do that, which means I'm going to be able to apply pressure, but I'm going to be able to feel like with my hands, right? Like using my knees and my feet, like they're really, really great tools because they allow me to take pressure off my hands. But sometimes it can be a little bit, I think, confusing for therapists if it's the first time they've used it that way. Like, how did you feel when you started using your knees and feet?
A little weird. You know, you just never get used them, so it took a minute to kind of figure out how to deliver the proper pressure with it. But
so
I feel really well with my feet now.
You might be able to see here, it's like her skin is just kind of red right here. But we did two different compressions right there. And then I'm going to lift this sports bra strap a little higher. When I come in with my forearm, I'm going to make sure not to press into her shirt here because she felt like it was rubbing her skin a little. So I'm going to come up above and stack my body weight. So I'm going to come up here. I want to be able to put my body as much as I can behind what I'm pressing into. Kristen, when you work on people, like it's really nice to be able to pull on stuff, but if you're trying to give them pressure, do you try to get behind it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because like leaning into something like seems to provide more leverage than the pressure that I can deliver by pulling someone into something.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna lift her shirt right here. And then I'm going to see if I can come down right in the same area without her shirt. So I'm going to lift that right there. I'm going to come in with a forearm and an elbow. Now, this is essentially the same thing I was doing with the side of my foot. But we've got a slightly different angle here. Now, when I go to the back, Kristen, or the front?
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Back.
More to the back?
Yeah, I mean, it's all something.
Okay,
there.
so tell me when.
Down there.
Right there. Now, more down and lateral?
Sure.
Or more
Oh.
towards the spine and up?
It's like I'm down in between there.
Right there?
A little more.
A little bit more? A little bit more down?
Yeah.
There we go. Now, do you see how she walked me into that? She very directly told me this right there. That's the sort of communication. What I fail to articulate it sometimes, but I think over time, especially doing trainings this way, it's going to help me refine the teaching process. I'm able to find a spot quickly in a cooperative manner with the client so that I'm never wondering, am I in the best spot for them? They always go, oh, right there. That's it. Oh. They feel like they get more of their money's worth for the session that way. So again, just a little bit more forward or a little bit back?
Forward.
A little bit more forward? Do you need more pressure?
Sure.
Okay. So I'm gonna alter this. You can see my hand here. She wants a little bit more pressure. I need to get my body behind it. I'm gonna lean in right here, and then I'm gonna reach my arm up above my wrist, and then I'm gonna reinforce with the other arm. So now it feels like I have two arms pushing in instead of just one. So far, somebody was saying that they have a client with arthritis at the acromioclavicular joint. Congratulations on spelling that correctly, by the way. Sounds very professional. I don't think that you need to make any changes because we're not really doing a whole lot to the shoulder joint, unless when we had their arm back and we were pulling them open, it feels like it's a little bit too much pressure. Normally, they're going to tell you pretty quickly if they think you're doing something that feels uncomfortable. More to the front. Right there. There we go. Very specific. Now, I'm also going to take this leg up like this. I want to be able to have some pressure so I can kind of push from this leg straight in right there. How's that?
That's good.
Is it too much?
No.
Okay.
That's an awesome spot.
So I will tell you this. Most of the itises, inflammation of some sort. A lot of people are having, so I'll give you a quick, so I had a car accident. She had a car accident. We both technically, according to the research and doctors' understanding, are more prone to develop arthritis in our cervical spine. I feel it some days. How's my overall neck pain? What neck pain? If you get regular body work on the tissue and force blood through the area. I've seen a lot of people who've been blown away because they have pain that they're saying is arthritis, and really what they're having is musculoskeletal pain that's 80%, 70% of the pain that they experience. Once you take that away, their quality of life is great. And they still have arthritis. Does it make sense? Yeah. So I have gotten tired with this one arm. I've been leaning in with that left arm. Do you want more right there, Kristen?
I mean, I could have done that for forever.
She could have done it for forever.
Forever.
So what I'm going to do is change it out. And I think also I'll get better at like relaxing in these live streams and getting comfortable teaching this way. It's a little bit different than like the usual class format. Oh, by the way, how do you like it? Because you were in a class where you got freaked out because there's so many people.
Yeah, there was way too many people. I mean, I think this is great. I think this is awesome. I would love to be on the other end of this, using this as a resource for learning, especially during coronavirus and a time where,
Yeah.
there are not in-person classes. This is an amazing option.
So what I'm doing is I'm turning around so I can use my right arm. I want to be able to lean in the same way, but I want to switch arms so that I'm not overworking my left shoulder. So I'm going to come down and over, and I'm going to find a spot. This is going to be a little bit closer to my elbow because I think we've softened her up 3 times prior to this. How's that right there? Is that too much?
No.
Okay. And then I get to play with camera angles again here. Hey. Now, more to the front, more to the back.
Front.
More to the front. Tell me when. Right there. So, do you want kind of like down and lateral? Or towards the spine and up?
For a second there, I had to do my ceiling. Like it was pulling my ceiling. It feels great.
So it's also lengthening those areas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like how much pressure right now, and I'm actually asking this to myself as well as asking you, am I really putting pressure on your scalenes right here?
No.
No, I don't think so. But we are close by and like lengthening that junction through there. So a lot of people would feel like, I don't know. Well, I mean, massage therapists, saw this and were like, oh my God, he just like put his knee. Like, is that safe? And I think that's a normal response. Like, I want to reiterate, we're going to do this so many times, your nose is going to bleed. You're going to know this shit inside and out. And when you do it, it will change your practice. It will change the way that you work. It'll change the way that you address common musculoskeletal complaints in clients. You're going to be much better versed in being able to help people with things, I think, effortlessly. right there. Now, a little more to the front. And a little bit down and over right there. Now, I can feel, just like you do in deep tissue in somebody's back, like I can just feel a little bit of tension. And this is pretty roto-rooter. Like, we've only worked on one side, and we started a little over 30 minutes ago. One side. One. So to take pressure off, again, I'm going to just put a little pressure into my keister and kind of lean up slowly, just to come out of that. And what do you think, neck, now that we released some of that?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Yes, please. So usually I can hit three points on the neck is the way that I'll refer to it. I think I can hit 3 points pretty easily. Usually there's this lower spot at the base of the cervical spine. There's kind of a middle point, and then there's an upper portion along the suboccipitals. So in her case, her head is already a little bit forward. She's already like rolled forward. Her eye gaze is a little bit down. If she had her eye gaze, I'm going to turn your head real quick. If she was up like this, I can't really get to it because I'm going into the side of the neck. It's a little bit more dangerous in the side because we're getting close to that anterior portion. But if she has her head turned just a little bit down with a little bit of length here, awesome. Great spot. We've kind of lengthened this area to be able to get into here. If she had her head craned back like this, it's crimping this space, so it doesn't really provide me a lot of room to be able to go in and put pressure there. So again, head a little bit forward and eye gaze a little bit down towards the floor. Now I'm going to stack my body in a way that feels good so I can use my forearm and elbow. I'm going to come up and I'm going to have a passive hand here. This is going to feel good to me. I'm going to put that under my thigh. So I've got this little movement here, right? I'm going to lean this guy in, pull her shoulder just a little bit down so I can try to get to the base of the neck. You tell me, Kristen, right there. Is that a good spot? There we go. So when you're working on a shoulder joint, it's got a huge range of motion. I'm usually just going to ask the person, you know, do they have problems moving their shoulder in any specific way? And then you're going to kind of reverse engineer what you think you need to work on based on movement patterns. Now, if I am going a little bit down or a little bit up, which of those do you want? Up a little bit, right there? Okay. A little more forward or a little more back? Forward or back?
Forward.
Okay. So, and I wanted to point this out. I did that very much on purpose. Are we right? Are we good right there, Kristen?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. I asked her the whole time. She's been communicative. And then I was like, forward or back? Now, I'm talking because I'm teaching. In an actual session, I'm more so going to feel and mainly get feedback about like the pressure, the angle, leverage, that sort of thing. And in this case, I said forward or back. She answered me the whole time. And here, I know this because I've done it so many times. She fell in.
I did.
And Kristen will laugh because she's doing it to me now when she works on me, because she'll work on me and it's like the camera will time out. Like, you know, it's like, I'm like, what time is it?
Yeah.
Because the sensation is so intense. She knew I made noise, but she didn't like, she wasn't like in the room that way for that second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So do you need more pressure? Or just good right there?
Yeah, that's great. So I like heard you, but like my brain was somewhere else.
Yeah. Always, always, always the case.
Possibly it's such an area of issue. I'm just like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
I got a massage yesterday and I just didn't help from it.
And I slid just a little bit up. I felt like she was wanting a little bit more pressure there. What do you think? A little more to the front? Right there? You doing good there? There we go. How's the temperature this time? Good. I think if you were working on me, you might be a little warm. But I knew, based on the fact that you were going to be hanging out, that like you might be a little more comfortable. Yeah. I'm usually good if I'm almost about to sweat. Usually. Oh, right there. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. That thing where they're like, God, yeah. So to give her just a minute, I'm gonna back off slowly. I'm leaning back into my bottom, taking the pressure off. She took that nice big deep breath. And
neck adjusted.
Yeah. So when your neck adjusted, and that's a good like point to bring up. Like where did you feel it?
Just in the area we were working. It was like all that tension that was holding everything in place, kind of just with it releasing, it allowed my bones to move as they needed to.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's very common when you're doing good musculoskeletal work for people to have a spontaneous cavitation. There wasn't a, like I wasn't pressing,
no.
You know, there was no high velocity thrust trying to cause that. I just wanted to point it out because for some people that'd be a new experience. What I do think happens is we're releasing muscles that are so deep to our core that we wind up getting spinal adjustments, if you want to call it that. You have a spontaneous cavitation, stuff lets go, adjusts. Yeah. Just like when I get up in the morning and I stretch and I get click, 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 kind of in my upper back, it just, that stuff moves. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go back into the spot. I wanted to give her just a minute to like recuperate from that. It can be really intense, what we just did. So I wanted that to be comfortable for her. Give her just a second to, you know, again, she had that spontaneous cavitation. They might kind of shift their hips or move a little bit. And then I want to go right into the base of the skull. She repositioned where her head and neck were just to make herself more comfortable. I want to be able to come right at the base of the suboccipitals. Right in, can't see from that angle at all. There you go. That's why we got another. So right at the base here, you can choose how far down the ulna you are. The more you get towards the elbow, it's going to be pointier. You can put the elbow in the suboccipitals. You just have to go slow. And you really have to make sure to communicate effectively with the person. I'm going to stack body weight again. I've got that receptive hand. I'm going to come in right here, going to hook on this side. Right there. Is that too much on your other shoulder?
No, I'm trying not to squish my eyelashes.
Okay. Do you need to reposition?
Yeah.
Okay. Is the pillow is it too soft?
I like it, except when my eyelashes were squishing into
Okay.
it. Just 'cause I'm wearing some hippy dippy mascara and it's gonna smear on my face.
Okay.
There we go.
There we
I
go.
just want to put my face off the edge.
We try not to smear the clients.
I don't want to smear it.
We try not to smear their mascara. Right in there. Now, if I go a little bit further forward or a little bit to the back?
Both good.
Both are good. So when she says both are good, 9 times out of 10, the middle. I'm going to go, if I go to 1 and 2 and they go, kind of, okay, the middle. Almost always. Now, from there, do you want up towards the base of the skull
You know what I think I want? I think I want this blanket as a pillow.
or down? And why?
Because I don't have enough support.
Okay. And I purposefully wanted to do that today. I had the option, and this is why, like if you're at home and you're working on stuff, by the way, I will often, if I go to a client's home with one mat, I will grab couch cushion, pillows, just whatever makes them comfortable. We're gonna slide this guy out because she doesn't want that. She wants something with more support. Can you flip it around? I think having the curve right there.
In the neck.
Yep. When I say the curve, like the
folded
yeah.
part.
Now, I want to make
that's so
sure
much better.
I want to make sure that her head is at neutral, and I want to see if I can capture this. When she's at the side, her head isn't like lifted up. If she's lifted up like that, it's not really a great position. Sometimes, if her head's a little bit over, that could be nice because it'll sometimes lengthen the cervical spine. But in her case, she wanted something that had more pushback. That pillow is a lot softer, and this, I think, is what she was looking for.
It was nice until you got into my neck, but it was like pressured down. I didn't want to be holding myself.
Yeah.
And so I wanted something to be really deep supporting my head as we were working.
Yeah.
I love that pillow. It's great.
So I'm going to come back in. I'm going to scoot just a little bit over and closer now. Going to change my angle because I'm not on the pillow. Right in there. Now, the front or the back?
Middle to front.
Middle to the front.
Yeah.
Right there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, is that a little bit up now? That direction? Right. What do you think? A little more, a little less? There we go. Now, when she says that's it, the clients appreciate your work more and they will tip more. You don't have to talk the whole time. Like, that's a representation thing. I think that when students see the vault, they think all of my sessions are just talking the whole time. Now, sometimes I will. I work on Kristen, we're colleagues, we talk, you know, and we've gotten used to it. Sometimes, like if I'm going to give Kristen a full session, and you'll see these in the vault as we continue our training, we might talk like an hour, give or take, and then she's just going to just completely fall in. Right in, right in, right there, Kristen. There we go. Do you have any referred pain from that? A little to the back, or again, a little to the front? A little bit to the back, and then still up, right there. There we go. And no referred pain, just localized.
Mm-hmm.
But it's localized, intense. Yeah. Oh. So just to give like an additional piece, do you feel like you want a little bit more pressure there?
I'm pretty comfortable.
Pretty comfortable? Okay. So I'm not going to apply any more pressure. What I want you to do is just take a big in-breath, then out the mouth. Ah. How much do you feel those muscles shift with that breath?
Definitely a lot.
Yeah. Teaching the client slowly, incrementally. Kristen will make a great client because what happens is she becomes trained. I get into a spot and she starts breathing, like consciously. Usually what I'll try to do is I just try to make the clients more aware of the fact that they're holding their breath. It's a little challenging to just push them, so to speak, like breathe, breathe, breathe. That gets old. But communicating with them as you go to be able to encourage their breathing, especially on a tight, tender, dense spot. Letting them know that you're not going to press harder. You know, you're going to take your time and allow that to release and unwind. So slowly, I'm going to lean into my keister. I'm going to slowly back off. That was a deep compression. And again, I'm just going to give her a minute just so she can feel that.
I'm gonna take a sip.
So I try not to leave you guys imbalanced. Generally, I'll try to work both sides, especially if the person's having an issue. In Kristen's case, she gets a receive twice, so I'm going to flip her over in just a second. I want you've worked on someone for 45 minutes. Now I want you to trade. I want you to switch out. I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side. So each of you have only worked on one side or received on one side. I am going to try to balance that out at least a little bit, just to brush up on the opposite side. But have them on the side as a receiver where they have the most tension. I asked Kristen when we started which side. She put her left side up because she has more problems on her left side, right?
Always my left.
Always the left, yeah. So we worked on that first. Now go ahead and switch out. In Kristen's case, she's actually gonna just turn to the other side. And then can you scoot a little bit more to the center of the mat?
Yeah.
No, you're gonna turn that way.
Well, yeah. This way.
No,
Wait, what am I doing with my life?
there you go. What are you doing with your life?
Lost.
You're with some guy in a studio.
Help.
Right in there.
Okay.
So I'm gonna come in just like
Want me to
before.
come closer for that camera?
Nah,
Okay.
we're good. Oh, so I'm gonna come up and over. I changed where the blanket was just so that felt a little more comfortable to her. Do you feel like your head's at neutral?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not like craned over. She's not overly down, whatever. That's gonna help. And then I'm gonna be able to hook my arm just as I had previously. Gonna be able to come in. I really like this passive body contact when I can do this, by the way. I really like being up next to the client. How do your clients report feedback on that?
They like it. They say it feels like nurturing.
Yeah,
They feel safe and secure.
yeah. That's generally what'll happen, but what were you taught in school about passive body contact?
No go.
No go. Yeah. So that's kind of a weird thing about my instruction. I just break a lot of rules. Not the law, just the rules. Two different things. Capone broke the law. Right in there. So again, don't get overly concerned if you don't get it perfect. You're learning. It's supposed to feel weird at first. I'm bringing you through a biomechanically, I can't even speak it. Biomechanically through a lot of different positions that are going to feel different for you. You know, you've got to do the work and feel it. Part of the thing about me doing this online instruction is the students will say sometimes, you know, well, I prefer in person. And here's the caveat. I think that the reason you like in person, so Kristen, like you work with me in person and we've worked together for over a year now.
Yeah.
Anytime you've had a question, you can call me, you can text me, you can talk to me next time we see each other.
Yeah.
I can work on stuff, help you. You ask me questions about a client who's having a specific issue. That is the height.
Yeah.
That's what all of the students want.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is they don't all live in Austin.
Yeah.
So the difference is if you work with someone consistently, following what we're doing, working with us online, you're working with another therapist, you are getting in-person feedback. You're finding out from that therapist, well, how does that feel? How does this feel? That's going to speed up the process. Everyone knows it's not exactly as good, but I think it's so close. I really think I can charge you $100 a month, do this every month, and think about studying with me 6 hours a month, every month. Again, next class is feet. Next class is calves. Next class is upper leg. Next class, again and again and again and again. That is what I'm trying to build. And I think that therapists are going to be able to learn for pennies on the dollar. You're really going to be able to build a lucrative practice doing this that's really going to support you and your family. So again, we've traded out. If you had to go take a bathroom break or whatever, you know, totally fine. Excuse me. And again, going to go ahead and back out. I'm going to bring this arm up and over. Scoot out here. I'm going to put my foot right around her sacrum. And then I'm slowly going to roll her open. Now, she naturally just kind of lifted her head and pulled it off the blanket. I don't really care about that at all. I know that she's just positioning herself in a way that just feels good to her. Is it? I don't know. I don't think it was me. My phone is silenced, so who knows? Now, if I've got some pressure right there, do you still want that kind of traction down towards the tailbone? Right there? Big broad pull. I'm going to slowly work this foot over. Then I'm going to bring myself over and both feet. Just kind of walk them along the spine here. Side by side. This is where, if they were having a problem with their shoulder, for some people, they might not have the same range of motion Kristen does. Now, if I took Kristen right here and just cranked, like I kept, you know, cranking the shoulder up this way, it might get to be too much, right?
Yeah.
What you're being careful of is as I'm moving this arm, we're bending at the elbow and we're bending at the shoulder joint. Sometimes it can have profound differences. Just know that when you're pressing across multiple joints, just communicate with the client. If that was too much on her elbow, she's lengthened. If that was too much on her elbow, she'd probably bend, or like you could feel her resist a little bit. When she does that, I have to get more feedback. Excuse me. So feet right along the back, right along the back. And again, big foot right along the sacrum. Just going to pull her back and open there. And stack her up on top again. I want to be able to see if I can come into that cervicothoracic junction, again, with my knee. And we're going to talk about hand positioning and placement. Hopefully I can do this in a way that's, you know, you can see this clearly on camera. So I'm coming in and stacking the shoulder. I can grab here. I want to make sure, again, her necklace is no longer there. I can slide that open just a little bit. And when I press down on the shoulder, it means that there's creating a little bit of space right here so I can come down and in to this junction. I'm not on anything bony. I'm not hitting this like part of the clavicle, the acromion up here. I'm not hitting like the cervical spine. I'm really hitting just this big fleshy junction right in here. So I'm pushing that down in a way, giving her some space. And then slowly, I've got a hand here for positioning. I'm going to put a hand down here. So now I've got two hands to be able to...
Can I unstretch this?
Yep.
You do this instead?
Yep, that's fine. You don't want me to stretch your shirt?
No, I don't want you stretching my shirt. But also it feels good on my skin because my shoulder hurts.
Oh, there you go. So right there in the deltoid. Now, what I've got is I've got pressure here and I've got pressure here. So then I can lean in slowly with the knee. You tell me. Too much right there?
No more.
No more. How's that? Better?
Yeah.
Now, more to the back
Sheesh.
or more to the front?
Back.
Okay. A little bit to the back. What do you think? Right there? Okay. Less pressure? Feels good? Okay. Now, I've kind of balanced between this point of contact and this point of contact. This guy's primary, this is secondary, and here's where I come down right into the forearm flexors. Right there. Some rocking. Or good.
Rocking.
Oh. Oh, right there.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Who's that forearm?
Too much on?
No, it needs it here. That's not this one.
This one?
Yeah, it was
Ah.
so sore.
So she was talking about the arm. I thought she was referencing this arm, and that's where things communication-wise, when you got 3 points of contact, they don't know which. So I'm like, this arm? You see me move my thumb? Or this arm? You have to give them a kinesthetic clue. Now, I've also got 3 points of contact. What if I want more pressure in the arm? What if I want more pressure in this arm? What if I want more pressure in the knee? See? I can toggle between those points. You get a chance to work in a way that I think is very fluid. I can sort of like take a little pressure off the knee and then put a little more pressure in the upper arm up here. There we go. And when she goes, that is what I follow like a bloodhound. Yeah. That. Do that again. That. Now, just like before, I'm going to lean a little bit more into this hand, lean a bit more into this hand so I can slowly take pressure off. I'm going to bring myself back and down. And again, it's a deep compression. I'm just going to give her a minute to kind of recuperate from that.
And just a little feedback is to not come out of the arm too fast. Like your speed was perfect, but I know that in the beginning of doing this, I wasn't thinking about it. But if like when you have this as a point of contact, you're kind of doing like a blood stop on this arm. So it's like just starting to get a little tingly. I can feel it. And then when you're coming off, I feel that flush.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just my only 2 cents.
So it wasn't even the primary contact. It's the arm, like this arm in particular. Because the arm is out and it's like, it's such a big compression. You're getting like a tourniquet to this arm.
Yeah.
And then you said when you were doing it, you just jumped out and some people
Whenever
felt.
I first started learning, I wasn't as aware of coming in and out of all points.
Yeah.
And so I was just putting that out there for the therapist with us today. Just be aware as you're letting off each point to be really, just really aware of how quickly you're letting out.
Yeah.
Because there was times, not today, but in previous working with you, that I was like, oh, be careful, because it was like, I was so tight that like you had to move slowly coming out of it.
Yeah.
It was like weirdly sharp, when you came out.
So I'm gonna use my feet again, and when I worked on her previously, I used the right foot. This time I'm gonna use the left. This works best to me, and just to give you a quick idea of like why I think it works better that way, this is my experience of it. If I put my foot like this, the arch is like wrapping around her neck, and I can't get like a good sharp edge. The outside of my foot is that sharp edge, which is why I use the left. I'm gonna come in with the left, and I may have to reposition her just a little bit and bring her head forward just a little bit. I'm gonna open this up and out, and then I'm gonna bring this foot up and over. Now, I need to be able to stack my body weight to be able to feel like I can get some pressure here. And I'm off the edge of my mat, which means for me, I might usually use blankets or something like that, but I'm gonna be able to extend and press. How's that, Kristen?
Yeah.
Is that too much?
No.
Okay. So I've got some pressure here now. Now, do you want that more to the back or to the front?
Front.
A little more to the front? You tell me. Right there?
I lied. I want it to the back.
You lied.
I did.
You liar.
I'm a liar.
Liar! Right there?
Yeah.
There we go. Now, more lateral or more in towards the neck?
Lateral.
More lateral? Right there?
Yeah.
Now, what I've done is I've just hooked my foot right into there. You get a pretty good angle, I think, camera-wise right there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this other foot and I'm just reinforcing. I'm just stacking that right foot on so I can reinforce that position without straining at all. It's going to be a little bit different as I shift my arms. How's that, Kristen?
Good.
There we go. Now, compared to the knee, again, does this feel sharper?
Yeah.
Okay. And the thing is, general to specific, superficial to deep. I wrote that in the intro tie workbook. That's the same basic thing. Now, Kristen, we're not in this class talking about suspension, but what happens with suspension and like broad and specific tools?
It gives you more control. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, so in other words, when you add suspension to the practice, what does it give you? What
It
new
gives you more
tools?
Control. I mean, it just lets me be like either on top or to the side. I'm like, when I'm doing this move and having, sorry, I didn't mean to stab you.
You're fine.
When I'm putting my knee into the shoulder, I can like kind of dangle on it and like, you know, that way I have more control and I'm kind of like relaxing.
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
Yep.
Okay.
One, I think it gives you some bigger, broader tools.
Oh, yeah.
And the bigger, broader tools, in a sense, are kind of what you start with. But once you've got a full set of tools, meaning you got a little tiny paintbrush, you got a big paintbrush, you got a roller, now you got a sprayer. You can use those at different times depending on what you're working on. It doesn't mean I don't have you use your hands, but it doesn't make sense when you're working on your quads just to use an elbow. Because you're like, that's not the right tool, because you have a broader tool set now. So more pressure there. And then I just gently kind of turned my foot towards the outside of the arch right there. A little more pressure.
Yeah.
Right there. There we go. Now, for me, my hands are just starting to get tired. So if I get tired, I suspect that they're kind of getting towards their edge. She really likes work in this area, which is also one of the reasons I chose you to do this with, because I knew you're like, yeah, I want to receive 6 hours of upper back and neck work. So I disengage very slowly, and I want to be able to come in with my forearm and elbow there. So we use the knee first, then we used the foot, then I'm going to use the forearm and elbow. Now I've come in and just used the forearm and elbow. Yeah, totally. But it's also, is it sharper than the foot?
The forearm and elbow?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's why I go in that direction, because I think it's easier for her to receive something that's a slightly sharper tool once I've already softened the area. So like gluteals, I'm picky about gluteals. Gluteals, I use my feet or my knees. It doesn't make any sense to put a pointy elbow in there. How you feel about pointy elbows?
I don't like them.
Yeah, we've had words about about that.
Pointy elbows off me.
So I'm gonna change my position. I'm gonna start with my left arm. I could do my right, by the way. It doesn't really, it doesn't particularly matter. How's your arm here?
Great.
Feels good?
Mm-hmm.
You moved. I was just making sure you weren't like shifting or something. I'm just pulling it out of the way. So I'm gonna use this arm to push her away, create some space. Then I'm gonna hook the forearm and elbow down into, how's that there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna kind of like broaden a little bit, like I'm trying to feel the tissue there with my forearm and elbow. And then do you want more pressure to the front?
Yeah.
Right there?
Nice.
Okay. Now, more down and lateral?
Yeah.
Right there?
Yeah.
There we go. Now, if I want to give her a little bit of extra oomph, I'm gonna grab right here on my above my wrist, just so I can lean in. How's that?
Oh, that's good.
Right in there. Now, a little more to the back, a little more to the front.
Back.
Tell me when.
Good.
There we go. A little more down.
Yeah.
There we go. I feel like there's a little more space, a little more lateral. I'm gonna push her shoulder down and away and lift my arm just a hair to right in there. How's that?
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, she goes, yeah, like, I felt like the area I was on, it was like the tissue had softened. There was still some there, like I could have continued to apply pressure, but the boundary above it started to feel like there was a little more activity there. So it was like I wanted to go just a little bit higher right into that area. And then is that to the back? And then a little bit down. There we go. I will also say that therapists have the hardest time doing the upper back and neck work in a way that they feel is as beneficial as what they do on a table. When you start learning this, because I'm showing you how to use your legs and feet, a lot of therapists, they don't have the muscle control yet to use their knees and feet. So they tend to prefer the table-based stuff because they feel they can more adequately address the neck on a table. What do you think, Kristen?
About what? I heard part of that.
You prefer upper back and neck work on a mat or a table?
Oh, I prefer everything on a mat.
Why?
I mean, there's just so much more stuff you can do when you're on the mat. There's so much more that we're just limited on the table. and you can't when you're doing the side work. I can only use my arm and my elbow to try. I've tried to drop my table down because I have an electric table. I'll try to drop it down and use my knee, and it's just not right. Like having my foot on the ground and my knee up, it's just I'm not as stable. I can't use my feet like that. I mean, I can try to put like a chair that doesn't have wheels, but as you can tell, I mean, it just becomes so much more complicated trying to do mat work on a table.
Yeah.
But I try for my clients that won't get off.
So I'm gonna lean into my keister here and slowly take pressure off. So we use the knee, we use the forearm and elbow, and then, we use the knee, we use the foot, then we use the forearm and elbow. I'm giving her just a second. She just wanted to roll around. And then I'm gonna go into her neck using my forearm. Now, in the previous class, how much did we use our hands? In this class, how much have we used our hands?
Just a little bit for a little traction.
And that's why I'll be able to die doing this.
Hell yeah.
Because the hands are good for like really, really focused, like spot work.
Yeah.
They're not made for these bigger, broader structures. Like it's just impossible. Like these are just,
little baby hands.
Yeah, they're just small little structures. They're not in any way designed for that.
Not near as
So
impossible.
I'm gonna make sure she's got enough support here. Lift your head for me a little bit. All right, how's that right there? Is that too high?
Negative.
Okay. So I just want to make sure she's got good head and neck support because when I start pressing into this, we want her to be able to let go. On the other side, she talked about the fact that she felt like she was kind of bracing because she was trying to support her body, didn't want her, neck to crane over. So I'm going to come up. I'm going to see if I can get my forearm and elbow right into here, right into the top there. I'm going to pull her shirt down and away. And I'm going to give myself that receptive hand again. Right in. Yep. There you go. What do you think? Right there? Okay. So from there, Kristen, do you want me to go a little bit forward or a little bit back? Okay. Tell me when. Right there? Now, do you want down towards your feet or up a little bit? Up a little bit? There we go. It's a good spot there.
Yeah, I feel like I hit my occipital's really good.
And a lot of that will depend on angle. Like she talked about the suboccipitals, and I was saying I was more at the base of the neck, right? But it also depends on the size. My biggest, broadest portion of my forearm essentially hits like the whole cervical region. She might just feel it more in that area. Yeah. Right in there. And again, forward or back?
Forward.
A little forward? You tell me when. Right there? And a little bit up. There we go.
I think I might be feeling some first pain to like the front of my forehead.
Sharp, broad.
Like broad across my forehead, and then there's a sharp in the middle.
getting to be just a little bit much on this right shoulder, just because of the angle, positioning, the way I was stabilizing at the head of the humerus. I'm going to back off slowly, just leaning off. Give her a second before I go back in. And this time I'm going to go in just a little bit higher, more towards what I consider the middle. How's that, Kristen? Okay. Now again, to the front or the back? More to the front? Tell me when. Right there? And a little bit up or a little down? A little bit up. Okay. I'll take a deep breath of my own, just if I feel like I'm holding any tension. Over time, what'll happen is, you know, Kristen is receiving, and like, you don't really want more pressure right now, right, Kristen? And you don't want me to shear position, right? So like, she's been taken care of. Like, as long as I hold this spot right here, we're good. But then I can work on me, and part of working on me is like I had neck and cervical trauma, so I'm going to hold this position, but I'm going to lengthen my neck to one side, and breathe and lengthen. Right. Ooh. A little bit of a neck stretch to me. And then, do you feel like there's any pressure shift or change? Or if there is, just very little. Then I'm just pressing over to the other side. Not on her, but on me. Just lengthening my neck. Little bit of mobility, just moving around. You're going to have to do this for just, you know, hours and hours. So you want to be able to put your body in a position where it feels comfortable. Some therapists will tell me they feel like, well, the mat seems like it's just a whole lot of work. Like, they already have the infrastructure and the training set up for the table. Which do you think is more work, Kristen?
So you hit my off button again.
I hit her off button. See, she couldn't even answer.
Whenever you get into this area, it just turns me off. I can't help it. I'm just like, brrr.
Yeah, and I do the same thing. In other words, what do you think is more work, table or mat?
Oh, tables for sure more work. But the clients are funny. They're like, man, you must get a workout doing that massage. But they're like, I know it's better for you, isn't it? Yeah, dude, it's so much better for me. Just because I'm not stuck to using just my hands. Like, being able to use all these different things, and like, my clients will be like, man, why haven't we ever done this before? I don't they use their feet.
More tools. And, you know, just to give feedback, I talked to a student, got some feedback on the last class, and they told me they were like, they couldn't quite see the camera angle. So maybe the camera angle was kind of like it is now. They couldn't quite see where my forearm was in the neck. And they needed something that was, you know, more specific. And as I talked to them, there was something about the way they phrased it. I was like, hold on. I was like, have you or the partner you worked with, have you ever used a forearm in somebody's neck? And they're like, well, no. And I went, okay. Because what I'm teaching isn't only how to use a forearm in a neck. I'm teaching students how to learn online. So there's like multiple factors and variables where I'm like, hey, whatever, just take your knee, throw it in their, you know, upper back. It's going to take time and practice for you guys working with me to be able to set that up in a way that's going to work. And I think it becomes effortless. So Kristen can kick somebody harder than she can punch them. legs are bigger muscles, bigger tools, and that's what we're trying to do, is give her a bigger, broader tool set to be able to use for those things. So I'm gonna lean off slowly again. That was kind of the second spot. Usually on the neck, 3. Usually is what I find. I can usually get 3 solid points. So I'm gonna give her just a second again. She might just reposition her head and neck. I wanna come right into the subocciput. Suboccipitals, right in here, right at the base. Gonna hook in. What do you think, Kristen? You think right there? Okay. Now from there, do you want me a little bit more forward? Or when you say that's good, right there? A little bit more forward, right there? Okay. Now from there, up. There we go. And I am stacked. I'm so comfortably stacked right here. For me, this doesn't even feel like work. I mean, this is just completely just me hanging out. I would do this stuff at the Thai Massage Jam to therapists who just were just completely guffawed that I could, you know, and like, I don't know, that I could deliver so much pressure effortlessly right in the area they were having problems with. But I think fundamentally we're selling something that's very different to a marketplace that is based on table work. That's part of the challenge. I think for chronic pain and mobility, the work is superior. I think it's also easier for the therapist to perform, but it's a very different package to be able to sell to clients. And the way I think you do it is video. You don't just convert the clients. What do you think is the percentage of your clients that have left because they want to get table work and you're transitioning to the mat?
Small percentage.
Small.
I haven't completely stopped doing table yet, but they sense that I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that some people aren't booking me because they're like, oh, she didn't want to do that.
But you're picking up clients that are paying you $400 a session.
Yep.
Yeah. That'll shift your perspective and desires pretty rapidly there. Right in there. So mat-based upper back and neck. I think I could get an 18-hour class just out of this. What do you think?
For sure.
3 days?
For sure.
And they're like, are you fucking out of your mind? Yes, that was established many, many moons ago. Completely out of my mind. And again, a little more to the back. Right there. And then a little bit up. There we go. Once I'm good and stacked, I'm just completely hanging out. Doesn't feel like a lot of stress. I do have my spine a little bit of a different position, but we did both sides, so it feels balanced on both. I'm going to slowly put my weight back into my keister. Slowly take that off. And in Kristen's case, that was essentially both sides. We worked the left side, we worked the right side. That alone was an hour and a half, just on like 4 or 5 techniques that we repeated on both sides. So I want you to switch out partners again and work on the opposite side. I'm gonna do like a briefer, like 15-minute version of what we just did. So I'm gonna redo her blanket here. Let's see. So can you flip to the opposite side, Kristen? There you go. And I'm gonna do like, essentially, as you're trading, you're gonna switch out, right? I want the person to receive like the abbreviated version, essentially, like the 15 minutes on either side version that I would do for someone if that was the only time we were dealing with. So I'm gonna come in and probably just gonna grab on the arm, just like before. And she's a little more open, so be mindful of that. You're going slow. Excuse me. And then I'm just going to walk my feet along the spine here. Big and broad. Where my foot does make contact with the spine, it's big and broad. There's not like huge pressure here. Just some very gentle mobilization. Going to put my foot right back at the sacrum. And I'm going to grab a foot right below the shoulder blade, right in there, and pull her open from there. It's like it's pushing the vertebra forward while pulling her back and onto my foot just a little bit. Then we got less time, right? So I'm going to come in very quickly and go to my broad tool, which in this case is my knee. If you wanted to and you don't feel as comfortable with the knee, feel free to use the elbow. I'm kind of doing my practice real quick. I know how to use my body and get into this. This is the second time I've worked on this spot on her.
We'll do this again.
Yep. There you go. You want your Modest Yahoo shirt?
What about it?
Yep. Do you have an emotional attachment to Modest Yahoo?
Well, yeah, it's like one of my favorite shirts.
Yeah.
But also, I really do like the skin on skin because I have issues in like my arms that I like to have skin on skin.
Right there. How's that?
Yeah.
There we go. And I'm going to give her some rock. I'm going to right there. So time and size jam, it's like a faster, like this is a CE class. Like we're going through stuff a little more methodically. The time and size jam is a little more just throw you on a mat and beat you up, you know, to be funny about it. I would do stuff like this real rapidly with people who came in, whether they were therapists or not, just to have them experience, you know, what the work can be like. What do you think? More to the front, more to the back?
Front.
Tell me when.
Back. I'm just kidding.
Right there?
Yeah.
And some rocking? There you go. Now you can see I've got pressure on my right knee, pressure on my right hand, and I've got my left hand on the shoulder. So there's multiple points of contact to be able to steer that knee into the area. Now, if I wanted to come out more lateral, I'm just going to lift the knee. Ooh.
That's some tight stuff.
So I'm just a little lateral. It's more like trapezius, levator scap, but more like the outer portion, I would think, as opposed to the inner portion. It was like 2 spots right there. One was a little closer into the spine, the other was a little further away. Is it too much? Are you running away?
I was moving because my like quads are super tight, so
Oh, okay.
I was just stretching it. That's all.
Because I was just
It's like
making
just
sure.
laying on it, you know.
I was
Makes
just making sure you weren't kicking your feet trying to run away.
No, it's just the pressure of my body being pushed to the mat made me want to move it because it's so tight.
So I lean into my arms and then slowly take the pressure off. Then I'm going to come around and I'm going to use slightly different body mechanics. And you'll see this stuff repeatedly. Okay, again, this is not the last time you're going to work with me this way. It's not the last time we're going to do this. You're going to see this stuff like again and again and again. So I'm going to come in, and before I had this passive thing where I had the thigh and my palm was on the thigh and I leaned in. I'm going to come in from this angle instead into the cervical spine. I'm going to bring her head just a little bit forward. There we go. How's that?
Good.
Okay. And I'm going to change my angle and positioning because once I moved her, it just changed the angle just a little bit. I'm right here, Kristen. How is that? Now, more forward or more back?
Forward.
More forward? Right there? More down, more up. Down that way? Yeah. And I changed my body position just a little bit to reinforce that pressure that was a little bit down. Forward or back? Forward again. Right there. Mm-hmm. And a little bit down. There we go. Gonna slowly lean into my keister, take a little bit of pressure off. And I just use my left arm. I want to use my right arm in much the same way, but I'm just gonna change the position. I'm gonna shift where my hips are. And this time, I kind of went to the middle initially, and then now I'm gonna go up towards the top. I didn't really hit the base in the same way. If I was hitting the base and I was pressing down, I'd probably come up to the head up here and then lean that way. But I did hit the middle and I'm going towards the top. So I'm gonna come in, shift my hips the opposite direction, see if I can hook in over here, right? What do you think? There we go. Or you want something a little sharper?
Sharper's cool too.
Okay. So if I'm right here, Kristen, do you want more forward? More back?
Right in the middle.
Right in the middle, right there? More forward? There. Now, do you want up? There we go. Now I'm gonna add just a little piece on, and this is we talk about secondary, tertiary. Now I've worked on Kristen several times. I want you to watch this. How's the pressure, Kristen? Good. Now I'm gonna grab onto her shoulder right here and give her just a little bit of traction. How's that? I'll show that from a different angle. Hooking in right there and pulling that shoulder down and away. How's that? There we go. Again, from another angle. Down and away. Down and away. And a little more forward. And then a little bit up.
Yeah.
There we go. This is a pretty roto-rooter as far as working on this area is concerned. Now, if I wanted an additional option, I could also just keep the right arm where it is. I could grab this left arm and like pull her back and open. How's that? You like that angle? Okay. So I'm gonna kind of do a modified version. Just lengthen. There you go. If I grab right in there. There we go. How's that? There we go. Too much?
No, my skin was just sensitive. Blankets were up on my face.
Okay. Too much? So when she talks about it being rough on her face, you know, there's all sorts of option. I could just put down a pillowcase. I could slide the pillowcase off the other pillow. And I don't know, maybe your skin was dry.
Well, it is because I've packed all my lotion.
She packed out her lotion. I could feel I could feel your pain.
It's killing me. It's seriously killing me. Now my moving date's moving back. I'm like, I must buy more lotion.
So I'm gonna give her just a second there because it was like just a little bit of braiding her skin, and she just, you know, I just thought it was funny. Like, you mildly got annoyed about your lotion being packed away because you're getting ready to move. Exactly. So I'm gonna come down just for 2 seconds just to her feet, and I'll do this a lot just to give somebody a break because it's been all upper body, right?
Yeah.
We hadn't addressed it. Yeah, we hadn't addressed. Yeah. We hadn't addressed legs or feet at all. It's all been upper back and neck. So I'm going to come down where I feel more stable here with my foot on the ground just so I can lean in with the other. I'm almost at the edge of the camera, but I think you can make that out. So the difference is if I'm standing on the mat, it's soft and it moves. If I put a foot on the ground, it allows me to have some stability so I can lean in there. There we go. And you could also use, you know, either foot. You want your foot to feel ergonomic. You want to feel like it just fits the area that you're pressing on. Kristen, how do you feel about the work and like how relaxing it is compared to what people typically think of as massage?
It's weird because, you know, people think about, I mean, some people think massage is like relaxing when it comes to like long strokes, not really getting work done. You know, like they just like want to be like relaxed. But to me, like relaxing my muscles is relaxing work to me. And like my therapist not having to work hard, it's like I have such a fucked up neck from the accident that like I always feel bad when a therapist only uses their hands. I'm like, fuck, they're about to totally screw themselves over. You know, but when I'm working with you and you're using elbow and, you know, knee, and I'm like, I know that you're not going to hurt yourself working on my neck, and I know that my neck is going to get the most relaxed it's going to be able to get, you know, when you're comparing table versus mat work. Like, it's in the beginning I started doing this because I was working on a lot of big dudes that wanted me to, like, destroy them, but now it's like I'm addicted to it. Like, I don't even want to receive anything else.
Yeah. And
I tell my clients that, too. I'm like, you know, you might feel a certain way in the beginning, but I said, this work really grows on you. Like, you know, especially when we first start doing it, you might be a little more sore because you've never moved in that way or it's been a long time. But as we build the sessions, like your body, like I said, you'll start to learn the moves. And you might be like, hey, will you do this instead? You know, and I'll be like, yeah.
Yeah. So I just did like a quick foot press to her feet, to her calf, and over the calf. It was just a big, broad arch. And I had to do this slow, by the way. If you did this to me too, you got to be careful with my calves. Hey, hold on. And then when I'm over not on the knee, not in the popliteal space certainly, but above the knee, right into the adductors. Just a big, broad foot. Just a foot press. Just to touch the lower body for a second. Flip to the other side for me. And that's essentially the same sort of sequence. We just didn't go quite as much detail. Just in like a shorter, more abbreviated form of what we had done. And then I'm gonna come back out again. Gonna change position. And again, you guys can switch out. I just wanna make sure you get a little bit of work to the other side. So at this point, we're at the second trade. So we did something and then we traded, and then we did something and now we're going to trade again. Switching partners. I just want to make sure you get a little bit on the left and the right. I don't want you to be like lopsided. So, gonna come in. Oh. And again, a little bit of pressure around the sacrum. Just gonna roll her back and open. There's so many ways you can vary all of this. Over time, your body just starts to fit the client. You know what to do. You know what tool to use because you've just done it so many times. It's what you have available. I'm going to press again right below the shoulder blade, and then I'm slowly going to pull her back and onto my foot. And again, back and onto my foot. You dying?
No, it's great.
So I want to come up and around to be able to put my knee. Again, this is my tools. If you want to use the forearm and elbow, feel free. Don't feel like you have to use the knee. I will tell you that over time, you'll get more and more comfortable doing it. We're going to do this again, guys. We're going to do this again and again and again. If you don't get it today, don't feel bad. You know, I've been doing this for near on 20 years. Like, I've just done it for so long, it's just like totally second nature. It'll become the same thing. It's like if you were a boxer and you went and took a taekwondo class, how are you good at your kicking?
Not that great yet.
Yeah, like muscle memory. It's a different way of using your body. So I'm gonna bring the arm up. I'm gonna grab on her shirt here, which you don't want me pulling shirts, so I finally figured it out at the last 15 minutes. Gonna lift this guy.
He's a quick learner.
So I've got pressure here, so I've got some balance, I've got some control here. Then I'm gonna come in with the knee, and if I need more, I can put the hand down on the mat here to be able to find the pressure I want with the knee. Right there, how's that?
Yeah.
More to the front, more to the back.
That.
More to the back. Just a second, switch camera angles. Sometimes the thing gets stuck behind me. There we go. And I've got my fingers down in a way that's comfortable to me.
Right there.
Right there.
Yeah.
Now back
No.
or front. It's like, no, you were on it. What are you?
I said right there.
Why are you leaving?
Yeah. Feels like scaling type stuff.
It's on the verge, getting
Yeah.
closer to medius. Lean into the arm right there. And some rocking. How you doing there?
Good.
Dying?
Now I'm awake. I'm alive.
You know, I got to get one of those little, what are they called? The little adapters you have.
What's
I
that?
need a couple of those.
Oh, that thing like I got there?
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
I like the USB is built in.
I think that one you can specifically get from like Lowe's or
Yeah.
see it a couple places.
So pressure into my hands and then slowly gonna back out of that. Give her just a second. And then I'm gonna come in again just for the neck. A lot like before. We're just switching sides. But instead of this receptive arm now, I wanted to use that other position, which is out over here and in like this. So I should be able to come, just kind of hit the center right here because of my positioning. Because I'm behind her, it's like I'm leaning over. If I wanted to go down, I'd have to come up to the head up here and lean down that way. So I'm gonna come in and over, change my position just a little bit. Right. How's that right there? So forward or back? Tell me when. Right there? There we go. So I get an email, and the email says, it's from Austin Energy, and they say, you used 29% more electricity this week. And I'm like, what? And I look at it and it's like, I spent $9 on electricity instead of $7. And I'm like, don't get me wrong, I'm a geek. Like, I like knowing that sort of shit. But I'm like, am I really sweating the $2? It's like, it was like less than $10 for electricity for a week. And from right there, a little bit more forward. Tell me when. Right there. And then you want down or up?
A little more forward.
A little more forward. There we go. Tell me when. There we go. A little more up. And she walked me right into it. And slowly, as I take pressure off, just gonna lean into my keister. Slowly. Give her a second there. It just feels nice, right? Yeah, like it's interesting that the work, it can be very intense, but I don't find it to be not relaxing. But the flow, if all I did was compress, 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 how does that feel? I think it starts to feel like you got beat up a little bit.
Oh, true. I mean, yeah, it feels nice to pull something.
Like, why is it like, so you have issues with your neck, we work on that, and then
Yeah.
why is it when I work on your feet, you're like, oh.
Oh, because it's just like, they're over there just hanging out, and then it's just nice to kind of give us a break too.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on down there too.
if you learn to like sink in and be deep and then back off, and then sink down and be deep and then back off, that's like the best flow. Like if you get into my rotator cuff and I'm like ooh, ooh, but then you back off and you mobilize my upper back and you deal with my neck and you mobilize and then you come back again. Like the conditioning that I have is it makes me soften faster. It makes me unwind, relax, let go. The session doesn't feel quite as abrasive.
And you're not like pushing it. You're not like, hey,
Nah.
unlock.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's never about force. Yeah. So I'm gonna come in again. Just got to stack my body weight. I'm trying to get to the base of the skull right at here. How's that angle, Kristen?
Yeah.
Okay. So from there, forward?
Yeah.
You tell me when. Right there? And is that up?
Yeah.
Okay. She wants a little more up. I'm going to change my position just a little bit. If I scoot my hips back, that means that I'm going to be able to lean up that direction a little bit more easily. So I'm going to hook in again, right in. Oh shit. A state of oh shit was declared. How's that right there?
Slightly light.
A little bit less?
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah.
There we go. And then forward or back? Forward, tell me when. Right there. That is intense, she says. And again, a little bit forward.
Yeah.
You tell me.
Yeah.
And a little bit up. There we go. Upper back and neck. This is the end of day 2. How many times have we put you prone or supine?
Oh.
Ooh. Now, if I called it side lying massage, do the therapists get excited?
No.
No. Why?
Because they don't know any better.
Well, it's a different way of, dealing with stuff.
I think when people think I think when therapists think of sideline, they just think pregnancy massage type stuff.
Yeah.
And that when you don't know how to use your tools correctly, then you're like, because like I had a girl today, we were talking with like a noob about what to do or whatever in longer sessions.
They love being called noobs.
We were talking about how long
You
to leave on the
noob.
face, and I was like, do them sideline. And the girl's like, well, I love sideline for lead work, but I don't like it for upper body. And I was like, girl,
Oh
you
my
just aren't
God.
doing it right yet. I was like, you just gotta watch this.
You talk to them in person or
You
online?
know, it's online.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And I think side lying, think of it from a marketing perspective. It's packaging.
Yeah.
The packaging. Who cares what position you're in? It's like, do you want quick, effective relief?
Yes.
Ooh. And it's like sideline.
Yeah.
You're basically delivering the same thing. Yeah. So just making my foot just gently wrap around hers. And then slowly. And I'm trying to use some control here with this standing foot so I could just gently just wrap the arch around to apply a little pressure there. Ooh.
Okay.
Oh. What are you doing after this?
Nothing.
No.
Watching the VP debate.
Oh, Lord. Oh Lord. I'm not watching it, at least. I'm not watching it live because I'm going to Josh's to have dinner, but I'll probably watch it later and lose my mind slowly.
Is this your date night with Josh?
No, it's date night. Oh, me and Josh, we're going to cuddle.
And you guys just had dinner the past two nights this day of the week.
I'm trying to remember why he was here last time. I can't
You
remember.
guys were playing with the video stream.
Was it? No, I don't remember. Anyway, usually get together with him once a week to do that. So big broad arch,
Good.
big broad arch. Nothing sharp. Big broad arch. Big
Something just happened.
broad. Oh, we'll get it. It'll come back. These things happen. Whoop. If anything, it took a lot less time. It didn't flip the whole time.
That's good.
And it just happened to be on that one
Oh,
phone
that's
we
so
were
good.
on. Right there.
Yeah, that worked awesome.
There we go. So, Kristen, if you had come in off the street and you just said, work on my upper back and neck,
Yeah.
would you have any complaints about the way I worked on you?
Yeah.
And that's what you have to train clients into receiving. We're just not, we're selling fundamentally what I think is a different service. And I think that's part of the challenge is there's multiple pieces of like, what are we selling? How are we delivering it to clients? How we're packaging it? How we're putting it together? The clients just want deep, effective relief. They're not overly concerned about what you call it or anything else. In fact, they just want something that's recognizable to them. You know, if they're coming in for table work and you're selling them mat work, that can be a little bit of the antagonism. That's why I lean so heavily towards video production, because I think that the more you show video of you working on people on a mat, you're setting expectations.
Yeah.
For what the potentials are for what they're going to receive from you. Did you have any feedback about the work?
That was awesome. Felt great. My neck feels a lot better.
A lot better? Cool. Go ahead and sit up just to see how you feel.
I was literally calling today for dry needling.
Because you were hurting so bad?
Yeah, because I just got a session from my normal trade partner, and
Yeah.
she knows how bad my neck's been, and she's spent a lot of time on my legs, and so my neck is super pissed off.
Oh, okay.
My neck feels so much better. Like, now I don't need to call him back tomorrow for a dry needling session.
And we need to work on it regularly. Once you get more settled in your house, do you know what
No,
time
holy
frame?
shit, no.
Okay, it's yeah.
But
Well,
now if you need help on that week of that I was supposed to move, I'm free.
oh, that's true. Okay. So yeah, no, we'll be able to continue working on things, and you and I privately will be doing like 3-hour sessions. Listen, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I'm going to shut it down here in just a minute. I am here for just another second. If you have any questions or something you need to ask me before we leave, something you need to see again, I'm happy to do that. We're going to be here again next week, 5:30 p.m. CST. We're going to finish off the class. I'm probably going to go into some new stuff. Maybe just a couple new moves, a little bit more complex like use of your feet in the upper back and neck is kind of what I'm thinking. But you guys don't feel bad if some of this doesn't come completely naturally. You know, it's like the first time you've done it. Don't feel like, I don't know, don't feel like you're a failure because you didn't get it the first time. Like you're learning. A good part of the give and receive process is finding a good partner you can work with consistently to be able to give and receive feedback from. That's going to close the gap between online classes and in person. When they want in person, yes, everybody wants to receive a session and have me work on them directly, but I know, well, did everything shut down? Apparently.
Set that one.
So we set up with the camera that'll actually work.
Oh, it's still behind us then.
No, it's fine.
Oh, gotcha.
So it's just some settings on things. So what was I saying? You're going to continue to work with someone. You're going to be able to continue to give and receive feedback. It's going to close the gap between in-person and online classes because you're able to use somebody for feedback. That's the main difference between like an online class and an in-person class, and I'm doing my best to try to close that gap. Let me see if somebody just messaged me. Yay, thank you. Yay, thank you. Cool. Thank you guys so much. Listen, I will see you soon, and you guys have a great, great night.